What's up everyone, I'm Gooshy, and in this video we got another new legendary that got released with Rivals, and this one's called the Charm of Heavenly Rebuke. This might be a staple in the meta, and there are 3 main reasons why. But as always, I'd like to hear your guys' opinion on this as well, and without further ado, let's get into it. Alright, so this is the new charm called the Heavenly Rebuke. This states that on performing Heavenly Strike, there's a 50% chance for lightning to strike an enemy nearby. Now this is something very similar to a charm in the single player, but with a couple of differences. The percent chance of lightning to strike an enemy is way higher, but unfortunately the damage is a lot lower. In the single player it would one-shot any enemy, but that is not the case in Legends. So let's hop into Nightmare Survival real quick and test out how much damage this does. So we'll just build Resolve really quickly, then we'll perform a Heavenly Strike. As you can see, there is a 50% chance, so it's not going to proc every single time. But when it does, you'll noticeably see and hear a lightning strike nearby. And as you can see, this only does 3 bars of damage to this Bruni ult. Okay, so on paper, this charm doesn't do that much, but hear me out. Here are 3 reasons why you'd actually use this. So if you guys didn't know, before the director's cut, hands down the best build for the run was the Stone Striker build. This made use of Wave the Flame and Stone Striker using Heavenly Strike, along with all the bomb packs, to quickly burst down high health targets. And that was the main reason why you'd run the Stone Striker, specifically to use Heavenly Strike with the Ronin. If we look at what the Stone Striker does, it states that using Heavenly Strike against a staggered enemy does extra damage and repels nearby enemies. With this Stone Striker build, you never actually take full advantage of this extra damage against staggered enemies. And as we can see in this example, breaking an enemy's guard is just really time consuming and really not worth the effort. I'm pretty sure you just do the same amount of damage if you're just using piercing strikes to do damage directly to the enemy's health. If we really wanted to, we can change the Ronin's technique to staggering in position, which will increase stagger damage by 15%, but there is no noticeable difference. I know I made a build way back with the Assassin using the Stone Striker, which in my opinion is a more effective way to take down an enemy's guard with all the poison damage, but the Assassin lacks the damage when proccing Stone Striker's extra perk. And this is where the new charm of Heavenly Rebuke comes in. Because the only thing we actually need is that Heavenly Strike, we might as well get some extra damage in to other enemies. We won't be missing that extra damage on staggered enemies, but in some cases we might miss the part where it says it repels nearby enemies. Especially if we're trying to keep enemies in one place and control the waves. Repelling enemies might be helpful, but from what I noticed while using Heavenly Rebuke, is that it still repels enemies if you break an enemy's guard or kill an enemy. Another reason why this might not be as important is because you usually use Heavenly Strike towards the end of a fight when there's only 1 to 3 enemies left, so repelling enemies might not be as important. Next, onto the second reason on why you might want to use this over the Stone Striker is that it leaves room for you to use a different katana. Because Heavenly Strike is on your charm now, you're not locked into the stone stance, and now you're free to use wind, water, or moon. And so I know some of you might be thinking, sweet, now I could use Moon Master with Heavenly Strike. Well, I'm sorry to tell you guys that these 2 techs do not work together, because Heavenly Strike uses triangle and circle, as well as the Moon Master using both triangle and circle in quick succession. Most of the times once you hit that 1 bar resolve, you tend to fire off a Heavenly Strike without meaning to. So unless one of you guys knows a way to use Moon Master without unintentionally triggering Heavenly Strike, I really don't recommend using these together. But if you do like water stance, this is actually a good option for you. Finally, for the third reason why you might want to be using Heavenly Rebuke is to get higher and more diverse stats for your charm. With the Heavenly Rebuke, most likely for the perk you'll be using Fire Master, but for the properties you have extra options for things like Injured Resolve, Resolve Gain, Ultimate Damage, Ability Cooldown Reduction, or Fire Damage. There is a slight trade-off though, because if you are using a Stealth Charm, again you have access to Fire Master, but something that's not available for Heavenly Rebuke is Status Effect Damage. Status Effect Damage maxes out at 18%, while Fire Damage only caps out at 12%. So there will be a trade-off if you're using Heavenly Rebuke, but it's up to you to determine if it's worth it for you. And with that, that's pretty much all the reasons why you might want to be using the new charm of Heavenly Rebuke. I know at first I really wasn't impressed by it, but after looking over it, I really wanted to point out some of the benefits for using this, and to see if you guys would find it helpful too. I really hope I changed some of your guys' perspective on this charm. So again, let me know in the comment section down below what you guys think. If you guys found this video helpful, please drop a like and consider subscribing, as this is the place to find all your Ghost of Tsushima content. As always, thank you guys for watching, hope to catch you in the next one, and GG.